All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome in.
Thanks for attending Midsummer for the ones of you who are not on vacation, because I got a lot out of office when that message got sent out the other day. Like, if people are out of office, it comes back to me, and I was like, my inbox went crazy. So we know it's summer vacation time. So thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah, welcome. So we'll let everyone kind of trickle in another maybe 10 seconds and then we'll get started here.
And as always, we're going to record this and we'll have the recording out on our support site. Um, so that is handy as well. Hopefully, you're able to hang with us for the meeting, but if something happens, just know it's recorded. So that's good.
Yep.
Uh, Also, we have the Q&A box. It's a great idea to go ahead and open that up on your computer screen. So if you find that in the bar for the Zoom bar, you might even have to hit like more or three dots to see it, but open the box that says Q&A. One, that's where you put questions. Two, that's where we're responding to other people's questions. Oh, Lisa, Abby, you got a shout out. My buddy Lisa said this was her favorite webinar last year, so she's back.
That's awesome. Thank you.
There you go. All right. How we
Awesome.
doing, Jordan?
Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll jump right in then. I think we've got enough time for everyone to get in. So welcome to our July webinar. We're very excited to have Abby James back with us this year as our guest speaker, this time focusing on some SEO and Google related topics for this month. So on the call today is your normal crew, Allison and myself. We've got Chrissy, your account manager, and then Brian as well. I'm not sure if you guys want to say a quick hello.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Hello. And then just as a reminder, just because I handle all new incoming projects, majority of people in here are probably current customers. If you love our service, we run on referrals. Please, share us with everybody in your network if they're exploring their new fiscal year budgets.
Wonderful. Thanks, Brian. And then also joining us today, as we mentioned, is Abby James. So she's back. She did two webinars with us last year. We're very excited to have her back with us this year. So welcome, Abby.
Thank you.
Okay, so our agenda today is pretty cut and dry, pretty straightforward. I'm going to hand it over here to Abby for a SEO refresher and some really good information just about getting started with SEO. And at the end, we'll also open it up to a little bit of a Q&A. So if there are questions that you're thinking of as Abby's going through her presentation, please put them in the Q&A box. We will make sure we're monitoring that and get to those questions at the end. So if it's anything related to SEO or potentially Google, please feel free to throw them in there. Okay, Abby, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you. Let me stop sharing.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay. Is this the right screen?
Yes,
Okay.
wonderful.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me back. Super excited to kind of dive into this. I know SEO is kind of a buzzword that everybody hears about, and sometimes we just don't know exactly what that is, what it entails, what it looks like. So hopefully this will be kind of a good um, intro and a little bit deeper dive into it. Like Jordan mentioned, I've got the Q&A open, so I will try to watch that. And feel free to, interrupt. That's not a problem for me at all. But so yeah, I'll dive in. Welcome to the kind of introduction to SEO. Um, Having a strong online presence is crucial. I think we all kind of realize that now. And SEO is the process of optimizing your website to rank higher in search engine results, driving more organic traffic and increasing visibility. So having more people find you easier, find you better, find you faster. Um, I know it specifically kind of says search engine results, but a lot of this does tie into some more of the kind of newer AI overviews and chat and things because all of those programs and platforms are crawling and indexing your site. So they all kind of tie together a little bit. Um, so this is non-paid, so this isn't paid advertising, and that in this area, it includes higher rank or page position on search results, more visibility in general, better content alignment with what your audience is searching for, and then not just more traffic, but quality traffic. People who are likely to convert in some way. So that's always important. Traffic is great, but traffic just for traffic's sake isn't super valuable. So this is going to help bring in more higher quality leads as well as just more in general. Um, so basics, kind of SEO stands for search engine optimization. I always find myself also sometimes saying SEO optimization, but it's hard to remember not to say that. It involves strategies and techniques, again, aimed at improving your website's visibility on search engines. By optimizing your website for SEO, you can attract more visitors, improve the user experience, and like I said, ultimately achieve higher conversion rates. The three parts, or three main parts of search engine optimization are what is called on page, off page, and then there is a component of technical optimization. So I'll go through those three um, kind of areas for search engine optimization. You might, find that you've got a couple that are really strong, but maybe your technical SEO is off. So, just thinking of your own website and your goals, what you want people to do once they get on your website is kind of a good way to, start thinking about this and tackling this. So, again, increasing traffic, brand visibility, having people, recognize you, see you multiple times. We all know it takes people several times of, interaction, seeing your name. That's why a lot of people do retargeting and newsletters and continued outreach is because you want people to find you and see you over and over again. Search engine optimization also builds credibility and trust. Like I said, improves user experience, provides measurable results. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But instead of kind of this arbitrary, well, we're seeing more traffic, there are some actual metrics that you can watch to kind of gauge your search engine optimization and if that is improving. And then, of course, this is more of a long-term benefit. If you think of like paid advertising as renting the billboard, whereas search engine optimization is much more long-term. It's more like buying valuable property in a sense. So it is long-term, it is ongoing. And maybe sad to say, even when you think you are optimized and are done, you got to go through and refresh again. The search engine environment is constantly changing, so you are never really done with SEO. I don't know if that is discouraging or hopeful, but it is an ongoing process. Even if you get all the way through your website and you've optimized every page, go back and start in the beginning again and kind of redo it. So let's jump in. Like I said, the three components. The first one we're going to kind of touch upon is the on-page SEO. This is um, individual web pages. So what's interesting is a lot of people think their website as a whole is ranked with Google and other search engines, where it actually really is page by page. So even if you've got a handful of really great pages, those pages will perform well, but not your entire website as a whole. So, um, looking at each individual page and optimizing every single page is really what needs to be done for search engine optimization. So some of these elements include keyword research and optimization. I'm going to take that a little bit deeper and say that the way things are going right now, it really is a little bit more than just keyword. That has been kind of the gold standard for a very long time of specific, like long tail keywords, whereas it's turning a little bit more into um, the actual intent of the searcher, so answering their questions. So not just, stuffing a page full of keywords. It's really about answering questions and providing content. So a little bit deeper than just, well, I put on great keywords on my site, but are you actually answering a question? So this does say keyword research and optimization, which is a great place to start. You don't necessarily want to waste time and energy building out this great page that doesn't include any high search volume keywords. So definitely doing some keyword research in your space to figure out what are those high search volume keywords. But then I do suggest going a little bit deeper and actually thinking about like actual phrases and questions that people in your space would be asking. High quality content that has just been a standard for a very long time. Um, and again, thinking about writing to the questions that people will be asking. And I think every audience asks different questions, right? The people you serve will be asking something different than the people that support the work that you do. So thinking about all your audiences and actually writing to them is really important for having great content that is search engine optimized. Meta tags. So this is kind of on the back end of your website. Meta descriptions, meta tags, titles. You're essentially telling Google and other search engines what that page is about. Um, that is very important because search engines are going to be looking for that. When those are not there, a page is less likely to be indexed correctly. And when it's not indexed correctly, it is less likely to show up on search results. So looking at the back end, along with that is the headers, H1, H2, etc., making sure that those are solid. Your URL structure. So paying attention to your domain.org slash what comes after that slash, having that be very specific, like volunteer opportunities. A lot of people kind of miss this. Maybe it has something, you know, P142 question mark 78. You want to make sure that those are corrected and that the URL reflects what is on that page. And again, that goes back to kind of the idea of having one topic per page. This might age me a little bit, but if you all know about like card catalogs back in libraries, right? You're searching those index cards, trying to find that one book that you're looking for. Think about Google and other AI and search engines. They they want to organize it kind of like a card catalog. So if you have too many books listed on that one card, that'll be hard to find, right? And that'll be hard to share that information and hard to track down. And then it might be hard to find where those books are. So one topic per page really is still kind of the gold standard. If you try to put too many things on a page, search engines just will not, they kind of won't, they just won't show them as often because there's just too much there. And remember, they want to send people to a page that is immediately going to answer their question. That is kind of part of the user experience. They don't want to make somebody scroll to the bottom of the page to read about your volunteer opportunities. Um, Internal linking, of course, having references from other sites. And then, of course, that turns into kind of external linking, people linking back over to your information. And then image optimization. The file names on the image, make sure that that is set so it doesn't read just, IMG 421. That doesn't really do a search engine any good. The file name for the image should reflect what that image actually is. That actually does help you in search engine optimization.
Hey, Abby, I have a couple questions and one just popped in as well. Uh,
Yeah.
really on the URL thing. So, correct, Lisa, she commented, our system, one each, whatever someone names a page, if they don't go
Mm,
and designate a URL, it just takes the page name, drops the and the of, and it makes a URL. So it matches the
yeah.
page. So that
Yeah.
that's just by standard. But our
Yep.
folks and everyone should know this, you can override that should you choose to have it be something simpler. Sometimes we see really long page names and they don't make great URLs. So do pay attention to that. But the other thing I wanted to say along those lines is also, if you go in and you change the URL, like you see this and it automatically gave you this URL and you go, oh, I want to change it to something simpler, it holds on to the old URL in our system so that URL can still work. That way you don't lose traction
Mm.
from a URL that might have been there for a while. So my question is this. Is it beneficial in some cases to have multiple URLs for one page?
Ooh, good question. I don't think it hurts anything, certainly. No. So you're right. Like a lot of the times blog articles, I've seen this a lot for like blogs. It's like why dash should, it's the whole title.
News
Um,
stories, yeah.
yeah. So I no, I don't think it hurts anything, but I don't think it's necessary. I don't
It
think it
doesn't
would
help
help
anything.
anything. Right.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Just wondered because,
Yeah.
if you think like I could create several URLs for this page, does that help me? And I guess your answer is doesn't hurt you, but I don't know that it helps you.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I think that would then it would probably default to some of those other markers that they're seeing potentially of the meta description and things. So maybe it would try to match it up closer, right? If the closer match to all the other components, maybe that page or that URL would be used more often. And that's where Google or search engines would send you. So it might look at several different signals in that case.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Um, Kind of diving in more to that content piece again, super important. Um, this is a really good kind of acronym to keep in mind as you're building out your content. One of these E's is kind of newer. For a long time, it was just EAT. It was the expertise, authoritativeness, and then the trustworthiness. The extra E of experience has been added in recently, but this is actually directly kind of from Google. So this is what is going to help rank higher for your content. So experience, Um, Expertise, authority. Are you an authority in this space? Are you an expert in this space? And then trustworthiness. How trustworthy is this site? Um, this does kind of go into, I don't know if anybody is familiar with like pillar pages and building off of um, that. So um, I'll just use Nonprofit Megaphone and Google Ad Grant as an example. So our pillar page would maybe be, what is the Google Ad Grant? And then we would have our additional articles under that pillar would be Google Ad Grant eligibility, Google Ad Grant rules and regulations, right? So that is building the authority and the expertise. So that's kind of I don't think it's necessarily newer, but more important as you know, search engine optimization kind of evolves and things like that. So when building out content, think about that too. What do I want to be known as an expert in? What do I want to show my most authority in? And do I have the ability to do that through my content and building that out in that way? Another, just to mention this on this page for the content ranking, a lot of new ways of kind of presenting content and putting it on your website is actually starting out with the key elements of what somebody is going to find on that page. That has been found to be very successful in helping you rank higher for your content as well. So, you know, a list of bullet points of what am I going to find on this page? What am I going to learn on this page? What am I going to come away with after reading this? Actually putting that at the start of your web page or your article has been found to be really valuable anymore as well. So then jumping to the off-page CEO or SEO, CEO, SEO, this involves activities outside of your website to increase your ranking. These are equally as valuable. This is kind of, you know, building your online presence in general, in a sense. So, of course, link building, that has been a practice for a long time. The more authority and trustworthiness and expertise you have, I think link building will kind of come along with that. More people will link to your content, just kind of works that way. Social media marketing, of course, driving traffic to your website would be great. That does come into play into search engine optimization. Um, Influencer outreach, guest blogging. I mean, all of these things, brand mentions, all of that, the more mentions you can get throughout the internet, the better. And Google will recognize that and it will start ranking you higher. Um, Resource website where you could drop your link and get an SEO score. I know there's a couple. Oh, what is it called? Yes, there are a few, and they will actually kind of give you a breakdown even of what keywords are you ranking for. Um, of course, I cannot think of the name right now. But yes, there are a lot of online tools that will help. Um, Moz, M-O-Z, SpyFu. I'm looking at my list right now. SpyFu is a good one. Moz. Um, those are a couple that I know. There are also others like um, I think those two are free for the first couple searches, and then there are additional tools um, for like a paid version. But yeah, there are a lot of free tools out there where you can look and see where you're ranking. There's even a Google crawler, so you can put in your website and it will tell you what Google is seeing Like it'll tell you, is Google seeing any of your headlines, any of your meta descriptions? That is really valuable as well to see what Google actually sees when it crawls your website. Ranking in AI like ChatGPT and Claude, yes, those are all super important now, of course. Um, that is going to come from your content more than anything. But yes, absolutely important. I always kind of I like to call Google, it's like your judgmental bestie. It is going to judge and rank everything about you that it can find online, whether that is on your website or not. So, absolutely. That's why, you know, reviews and things like that are important as well, because all of those mentions are going to factor in. Absolutely. The best way to rank an AI content, that EAT or EEAT, it really is coming down to content and if it is written for a person. We've done some A/B testing. Google does not like sending people to AI written content. Do not have AI write your full content. Have it do your research, have it do your outline. Absolutely use it as a resource. But Google can tell if something is AI written. And actually, Google just recently, too, came out with a rule. They are actually going to any images or assets that it sees online, it is actually now going to flag that as AI created. So it's going to start alerting people this is AI created. They haven't said that they're officially going to do that with content yet, but images, graphics, things like that, it's going to actually start flagging things as AI. And it does not prefer AI written content at all. Um, okay, good questions. So not answering questions that are frequently asked in a search for. I heard we should have a Q&A page. Q&A page or like a FAQ, like a frequently asked questions is what I think maybe you mean. Yes, those are great. I will say though, a lot of the time I see those, yep, got it, in what are those called? They're like the expandable menus, right? Because it's a big list of questions and then you click
Accordion.
and you expand it. Accordion, thank you. Um, Google has never been super clear on whether or not it can crawl when those are not expanded. So I always just stay on the safe side and do not use those menus because it is kind of unclear. If you look it up, I've looked it up a ton of times because I know a lot of people use that feature on a website, and Google has just never come out and said yes or no, we can't. So just to err on the side of caution, everything that you want Google to see and read, make sure it is on site. Remember also, Google cannot read PDFs. You cannot track like things that are, embedded and things like that. So on-site content also is very important.
Like infographics that have a picture with a lot of words and imagery in there. That just doesn't help you much, right?
It doesn't. It looks nice. It's user friendly in a sense for me, but not for SEO, not for Google. Yeah, it's not reading what that infographic is about. If you have a good caption or just a good snippet about, this is an infographic that is explaining ABC, something like that could help. But you're right, Google can't always crawl and index everything on your site. Yep. So using that Google crawler is actually really important for that too. Yep. Do AI created pictures hurt? No, not SEO, but I do wonder if that's going to start playing into trustworthiness and that it will start to eventually. I think that's why Google is kind of starting to say, hey, we're going to flag anything that's AI created because a lot of people are not trusting AI. There's a lot of people that just do not like AI in general. So I think that would affect your trustworthiness. Um, but as of yet, no, technically it does not hurt your ranking or anything like that as of yet. Yeah, a lot of people are going no AI. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Good questions.
Just
So
gonna, sorry, I'm just gonna jump in on that because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
everyone can't see that answer that came through quite yet. But Lisa had put in and said that they recently created a policy at her United Way that said that they do not use AI images specifically. So they put that out on the website. So just wanted to make sure they were able
Okay.
to see that piece of it.
Okay, thanks. Yep, yep. All right. So the fun stuff, the technical stuff. Just as a kind of a side note for the Google Ad Grant application process right now, Google is denying organizations left and right for a lot of these reasons right here where we have never seen that before. So I don't know if that's an indication of kind of the direction they're going. I mean, the technical aspect of your website has always been important. Google does not want to send somebody to a page that loads slow, right? You're just going to bounce. So page speed has always been a big deal, but on the end of Google Ad Grant, people are actually getting disapproved for the ad because of page speed now. And that is something totally new, really within the last couple months. So, yeah, speed optimization is super important. Mobile friendliness, very, very important, optimized for mobile. That has been kind of a standard for several years. And while Google never tells us exactly what goes into their ranking, everybody has speculated left and right forever. But this is one of those things that they did actually come out and say mobile friendliness optimized for mobile devices is actually something that Google has said weighs heavily in their ranking. So definitely pay attention to that one. Um, the SSL implementation, so having your site secure. So the HTTPS, making sure, I mean, that's pretty standard and has been for many, many years. Although I will say I do occasionally see an organization come through that still doesn't have a website secure. That is vitally important. Creating site maps is important. Structured data, really important. That is essentially that's just like feeding Google more information about your website and your page and what's on the page. Kind of say almost the same as meta descriptions and things like that. Crawlability and indexability. I've seen a lot of nonprofits that had no idea Google was unable to crawl their page. Yes, you can actually look that up. I think on the your search console. That is a super important resource for you. I believe the Search Console will actually tell you if Google is able to crawl and index your page, and you can actually request Google to do it. So if you make some updates to your website and you want to fix that, definitely go in and tell Google to recrawl and index your site.
Hey,
Um,
Abby.
yep.
I'm just gonna jump in on that because
Okay.
I don't know if everyone knows what Search Console is. Um,
Okay.
so I'm pretty sure most all of you know Google Analytics. We're used to that. Go and see the page hits and stuff. And we've done a webinar before on Google Search Console, and that's one that will need that XML sitemap. That's another thing that not everyone is necessarily familiar with. Our team can help set that up for you. But Search Console is a Google account that you have, just like the analytics one, and it is really valuable. So if your organization hasn't checked into Search Console yet, reach out to your account manager. We can talk with you about it, or Google it. They'll tell you. But yeah, that's something everyone should have because you'll find some really interesting information in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, super valuable resource and free. Yeah, and free. And then fixing 404 errors is another big one. Making sure that there are not, links that are broken. That's another one, broken links and things like that. Again, it kind of just goes to user friendliness. And again, that back end technical side of your website. So definitely fix your 404 errors as well.
Question on that. Is it possible, like 404 errors, can they be false? Like that people are putting something in and they're getting a 404 error because it doesn't exist, but it's not
Mm,
your fault.
correct. You're absolutely right. So finding the ones, yeah. So somebody put in linked to you wrong, wrote
Right,
transcribed the URL wrong or something.
right.
You're right. That would not count against it. It's just if it was legit and is not working. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Good point. Yep. Um, I think, Lisa, are you asking about the Search Console
I
webinar?
got it. I'm answering that one.
Perfect.
So
Okay.
they'll get it.
Okay.
You're good.
Good. Um, okay, just to kind of go back a little bit to the keyword research. Um, what you're kind of looking for is, of course, search volume. Is it a highly searched term? Um, are people online looking for that topic, that question, that idea, whatever that might be? Um, So, yep, definitely looking at your target audience and then determining are they searching for this? Um, Keyword difficulty, um, that's more along the lines of um, is it too saturated in a sense? Would it be too hard to rank? What are your competitors? Who else is ranking for those keywords? Sometimes you can come up with like a different phrase that kind of skirts around that really competitive keyword. Um, so looking at how difficult it might be to rank for that, I know, there are just some competitors that just might not ever be able to outrank for certain topics. And that's okay. There are other ways kind of around that um, are, a relevance to your content. And also, I would add kind of to your mission. Um, Actually, I always start like, I would not do the content first. I would figure out what the keywords are first and then develop my content around that. And then, of course, using long tail keywords for more.
I think we may have some technical issues.
Okay. I was wondering, because is it my internet glitching or?
I was
But
thinking
I
the
think we
same
lost Miss Abby.
thing.
Okay. Mid sentence.
Okay, let's see if she comes back. Maybe her internet
There
got
she
down.
is.
Sorry
Hey,
about that, everyone. My apologies. I will jump back in. Okay. Sorry about that. It just dropped me.
And there were some questions that came in. Um,
Okay. Yep.
how often do you change the keywords and what are long tail keywords?
Okay, yep, great question. Um, how often do keywords change? How often do you have to update it? I don't think you have to change or update it necessarily. Um, I always think of it as keywords will trend, right? So that keyword might kind of come into popularity again at some time, even if it kind of falls off of being like a high search volume keyword. So I would say just stay up to date with new keywords. I wouldn't necessarily worry about changing any, if that makes sense. And then long tail keywords are um, just much longer. They're more like phrase versus keyword. Keyword involves like, donate or volunteer. But it might be volunteer opportunities near Orlando, Florida, or volunteer opportunities with animals. So the longer, right? Volunteer opportunities could be a lot and you'd have a lot of competition, but volunteering with neglected animals or something is much more concise and it will lead to better quality leads in a sense because it will be more specific to the people who are actually searching for that. Finding keyword rankings, I like to use, there's a couple different keyword tools that I like to use. Of course, one is always Google Trends. See if it's trending on Google because we know, 90% of people are on Google. So using Google Trends, there's also a really good one that I think is really neat. It's called Answer the Public. And that is where you can kind of put in a topic and then it will give you a ton of different like long tail kind of keywords to build off of that. That is a great tool if you're going to try to build like pillar pages and pillar content because it will say, okay, if I put in the keyword like volunteer, it'll give me who, what, when, where, why, all different kinds of volunteer type of keywords to build off of. So those are my two kind of favorites to figure out, yeah, what keywords are ranking, what is trending, is anybody even searching for this? Yeah, good question.
And Abby, is
Mhm.
that also something that Google Search Console can help too, to see how people are, what they're searching to find you?
I think, yes, it does. It will give you a list of the keywords that have brought that you're ranking for right now. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it can tell you, yes, what you're ranking for now. If you're looking for other keywords, then yeah, you would use those keyword research tools. But yep, great point. Strategies for making sure keywords are relevant to the content. Ooh. Making
Yeah.
sure the keywords are relevant to the content. So you're looking at your audience. Who is your audience? What are they searching for? And then looking at different keywords. So again, I kind of work a little bit backwards. I'm not necessarily going to go say, okay, what keywords are ranking? And then I'm going to create my content around that necessarily. I'm going to say, what is my audience? What is my desired audience searching for? And then is that ranking? So again, it's keyword research, a lot of keyword research. If I'm not quite answering that, let me know. Um, yeah, frequently asked page. Yeah, that's a good way to go about a frequently asked page, FAQ page. Yeah, actually using Answer the Public for a frequently asked question page would be really great. Yeah. Um, Again, it's just all about content. So going back to a little bit more about content, what does some good like content look like? What are those? Definitely blog posts and articles, like we talked about. That's a good way to build like authority and trustworthiness is through your blog posts.
I
Um,
have a story.
oh yes,
I have a story that falls right into here. I was telling you
perfect.
earlier. Um, so we had a new customer come in, and when new customers arrive and we were looking at moving content from their existing site to a brand new site, they had over 1,000 pages. So we're like, where do we start? So we were looking at their Google Analytics, and oddly, there was this one page. You know, when you look at Google Analytics, homepage is always top. Almost always. They had a page that was double the homepage. It was a blog from 2020, and it had been trending really high all this time, called, and I actually have it up, like 15 games for ages 3 to 5. And it had a section for age 3 with like all, I Spy and all that stuff, age 4, age 5. And then they put a donate button on that page because they realized it was doing very well. Um, but yeah, oddly, like beat out everything by a mile. And
Mm.
I mean, I think this is for everyone a reminder. We you used this term last year, I always remember, adjacent content. There is a tendency for your website to be a little bit too much. We do this and we do that. We have this event, we did this. Think bigger, folks.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good example. To play off that a little bit, we have an organization that um, wants to build, they're building like different memberships and they're trying to expand. They had a blog post about homemade cookie. They made homemade cookies, and they talked about cookie recipe. Yes, that was a huge page for them. And same thing, when you find that out, then you put, okay, how does a cookie relate to this? It's like, well, make cookies for the gathering, and then yeah, they put, start your own circle on that page. And same thing, they started getting more and more people. Yep. So you're right. It is, yep, content that is adjacent, um, broad topics that you can still pull into what your organization and your mission is. Yep. Yeah. Good example. So yep, I think everybody's maybe seen this then. So infographics, videos, again, having some sort of snippet to tell me what is that video about? What is that infographic? Actually not telling me, telling Google. I am not Google. Um, ebooks are great, white papers, case studies, testimonials. This comes up quite a bit, and I put it on here because these can be good if they are structured well. People don't typically go online and say, like, I want to find testimonials about X, or not even success stories, but those can be used for people once they find you to then direct them to. So they aren't great in a sense for search volume, but for SEO, they do work well. And then they do work well with tying that into some of your other content in a sense. So as a standalone to drive traffic, testimonials, success stories aren't the best, but I think they work hand in hand with everything else. And then doing a combination, evergreen content, having stuff that is always kind of trending, always true, but then also creating content that's more timely, that is more trending, maybe like awareness months, like an article about an awareness month, or something that's happening in your community or the news or something, tying that in as well. So a combination of the two is also really great to have. And talking about reporting, what does that look like? Monitoring and analyzing this is really important. So of course, watching your organic traffic, is that increasing? Is that getting better? Watching your keyword rankings. So, like we said on the Search Console, that can kind of clue you in as to, okay, I'm trying to rank for this keyword. Am I getting anywhere with it? Bounce rates is big as well. That goes back to if Google sees that people just constantly bounce off your website, it is not going to help your rankings at all. User behavior, looking at what do they go and look at next? What did they do? What brought them in? Did I keep them on my website? That is another thing that Google is going to look at. Time on site is usually kind of where that metric sits. Of course, conversion rates. Is this helping you get more qualified visitors, more likely to convert? And then, of course, checking backlinks and people that are citing your website and your sources can also clue you in as to whether or not your SEO is getting better. Um, the difference between the Search Console and Google Analytics. Ooh. Um, so Google Analytics is going to look at your traffic. Where's the traffic coming from? What are they doing? What landing page? Um, the referral source, whereas the console is a little bit more, I think, SEO. Again, keyword ranking, you're not going to find that in Google Analytics. A little bit of information about what Google is seeing is more on the search console. Google Analytics is more just about your general traffic. So I think those are kind of the bigger differences between the two. Anybody has anything to add, I'll I'll
Well,
take it.
in Search Console, I mean, the word search, will tell you what people are searching on, what's the words that are landing them on your site. So it
Mhm.
is interesting to see what got them to you. And
Right.
sometimes it's an error that they didn't mean to get to you, but then you might discover that this is a topic that you should focus on.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And I know we are coming up on time. I will provide this presentation to you all if you want to send it out so everybody has this information. Um, but just kind of to touch upon like if I were just getting started on this, like what would I do? Where would I start? I would do a content audit. I would also actually do probably an SEO audit as well to see where you stand right now. Um, Looking at the gaps and opportunities. Like you just mentioned, are people being brought to my website through something that I would have never considered? And now I'm going to build on that. That's great. I always think like, who are we getting to our website and who are we not that we want to, right? I hear a lot of people, it's like, well, I want, a younger set of people. I want people in their 20s or something to start, coming to my website more. You can kind of discover some of those gaps and things and then fill those in. Content calendar aligned with your SEO goals. What are you trying to rank for? When would be a good time to put out this content? Again, is it evergreen? Is it more timely? Making sure that you are putting things out at a good time. And then some KPIs, definitely tracking the metrics, like we said, like organic traffic, your keyword rankings, bounce rate, conversion rates, all good things to track as well. So yeah, I will. That is the end of mine. Happy to answer any additional questions that anybody thought of. Um, yeah, happy to help where I can. Oh,
Awesome.
you're on
Thanks.
mute.
There we
I
go.
am on mute. Before everyone takes off, are you gonna show some of how our website, like the things she was talking about, where's those keywords at, where's the meta at, where's all the stuff that we were talking about on your Drupal website? So let's take a quick look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Abby talked about a lot of really great information, and we will get that slide deck out because I just think it's so valuable. But I wanted to point out just a couple of places that she had mentioned on the back end of your site. So this is just one of our demo sites, a page I think I used maybe last webinar, or the one before we created this page together, but this is the page title. It will automatically create a URL with heart. It will take my and sign out, but it will create it like this, heart and pause or dash pause, unless I come down to the URL alias block here. By default, this is checked automatically, but if you uncheck the box, you can then put in whatever you would like that page name to be within that URL alias here. We've also got a section here for meta tags. This is a huge section. I would try to maybe focus just on these basic tags up here, your page title and description, your keywords down here, but there are a ton of settings that you can get into if you have a marketing role on your team. This is maybe where they would want to start looking to see if there's options in here that they can fill out.
And let me just throw out on the basic descriptions, it's going to do some default stuff. It will take the first words or so on your page if they are in the body. If you skip the body section and you just go to components, there isn't really a description created for the page automatically. So that's something to know because it's only pulling from the body page. And sometimes I know sometimes you don't use it. You just go straight to components, right? If you do that, then make sure you write in a description.
Yeah, that's a great point and a good workaround that if you are using primarily those components, you can still pull in those meta tags there. We do have all of your headings as well. These are usually all preset sized in colors. Very important to use. These headings, we can always change them. If you don't like that heading 2 is red on your website, we can change that globally to make sure they are matching your color preferences. All of your images here, you do have the ability to edit that alternate text. This is what gets picked up on by Google as well. So make sure you're always adding alt text to every image. You can adjust it. And then, as Abby mentioned too, make sure your image file name, when you upload it to your site, it's not just image 4521. It's got a specific image name there as well. Did I miss one, Allison? I think I covered.
Go to is the SEO thing on the bottom of this one?
Oh, yeah. Right down here, we've got an SEO analyzer. Again, this also will sometimes only analyze content that's within that body area, not necessarily all of the components, but it is an area where you can put in some focused keywords. It'll also let you edit the snippet that's seen on Google too. So if you want this to be very specific, you can edit, that snippet here, which will show right under the URL on Google.
And
All
John,
right.
I don't know if I know the answer to that question. In the meta area, there is a lot. And I will say, I know Jordan and I both are not experts on all the meta sections. We kind of just stick to the basics. But yeah, I don't know what the difference is between page description and abstract. Would you have an idea, Abby?
I don't.
I think one might
Oh.
be shorter and one's longer, I believe. But, like the short summary and then
Hmm.
I think.
And I wonder if the description is more of like what actually is here on the page, like very specific, and then the abstract is a little bit more of, I mean, just as the word suggests. Yeah, interesting. I don't know exactly. No.
Yeah, we'll have to look that one up later.
Good question.
This is when we ask all of you to go, when you discover things and you're doing things and you're like, wow, this is cool, please tell us. We learn too.
Yeah, well, it does share a quick snippet here in the actual verbiage underneath. Like the description is used for search engines to display, whereas the abstract tag is used to archive a summary of the page.
Huh.
So they do have two different purposes, it looks like.
Mhm.
Thanks, Christina.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So let's go to we'll go to our wrap-up slide here. I am gonna just point out we do have our resources. We have a newsletter that we send out occasionally. We also have our blog, but I did see a few ask in the Q&A chat, so I just want to point it out as well. On our knowledge base, we have an entire webinars page built out. This has every single webinar recording and slide deck since 2023. There is a
Oh
lot of
my.
information in here. We've been doing these monthly for 4 years now. There's a lot of good ones in here about Google, about Google Search Console. We've got our ones with Abby in here from last year, so feel free to always come back and revisit this page for some more information there. Okay, and then lastly, just some reminders. We have our webinars that are recorded. If you've got questions about your website, you need some help, you can always reach out to your account manager or our support team. Looking ahead at the next 3 months, we've got a webinar on image and mobile optimization next month in August. We're going to cover some layout builder in September. We do have it ready, so we'll start rolling that out. So we'll do one on how to play around with Layout Builder more. And then October will be looking at your menus on your site and how to best utilize them.
All right.
So I just want to, I know we're over just a little bit, but I really
Yeah.
want to thank you, Abby, for joining us. We love having you on. Everything that you present on is so important and valuable, and we get so much out of it. So thank you so much for joining us today.
My
Thank you.
pleasure. Yep.
Thanks, everyone. Great questions. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.